Hello everyone, welcome to another RaceRoom video, and it's my first ranked race of 2022. Today we're in the GT3 class at Portimao. Now if you watched my previous video you'll know that 2021 did not end on a successful note at Road America, so I'm hoping for a bit more luck today. But these GT3 races in RaceRoom can get pretty rough and ready, so we're going to have our wits about us here, particularly as we're going to be in the middle of the pack, starting from 9th on the grid. And we're actually only 0.03 of a second behind her pick in 7th, so it's important to get a good start here. We want to be chasing that leading group, because if we do end up getting mired in the mid-pack, the chances of us surviving unscathed are very, very slim. We're actually going to make up 2 positions straight away here, because the driver who qualified 5th has opted to start from pit lane, and we also lost another driver just before the race, so that did put us up to 7th, but we didn't stay there long because Florian Kramer got an absolute flyer of a start in that red and white Porsche. Dennis Herpick holding 7th around the outside, and we've lost an Audi by the looks of it. That was Mark Koenig, he spun out of 3rd, and we're going to come under attack again on the inside. That's another Porsche creeping through, Max Urbin. I didn't even think that I'd left a big enough gap for anyone to get through there, but Max found a way. And now we've got a pink BWT Audi looking to make a move up the inside into the hairpin. He's not quite alongside, but I am going to leave a bit of space. I'm wary of potential dive bombs on this first lap. But to be fair to Martin Moses, who did just make the move up into 8th place, it seems like I didn't need to worry there. He made that pass safely and cleanly. However, for me, it's all about self-preservation on this opening lap or two. I've had too many races ended in the first couple of minutes recently due to over-aggressive or over-enthusiastic passing. It's certainly dented my confidence, so I'm just trying to give myself a bit of space and stay out of trouble, at least for the first lap or two. They say that fortune favours the brave, but here I'm hoping that fortune is going to favour a coward. And look at Moses ahead, getting that Audi sideways as he thinks about trying to make a move on Zerbin for 7th. He wasn't able to, and he managed to hold it. But we're approaching the end of the first lap here, and we're going to cross the line in 9th, barring any disasters. I'll take that. We've managed to avoid any contact on that opening lap, so we've got no incident points, no damage. That puts us in a really strong position. Rob Pearson is the driver behind us in 10th, but we've managed to put a little bit of daylight between us now, so that's encouraging. And we've got a lot more pace than Moses here. Can we make a move up the inside into T1? No, we can. Moses thought about defending that line, but in the end he just blocked off enough space to stop me getting through. But we're right on his tail now, so we're going to be battling for this 8th position, and it might be a 3-way battle for 7th. Having said that, it might be a 4-way battle, because Rob Pearson is closed right in now. He's on our tail too. Okay, let's take a break from the live action to go back and check out a replay of some of the lap 1 highlights. Now, we gained a couple of positions by default at the start, and we're just about to gain another one. Keep your eye on that Audi in 3rd place, Mark Koenig. He's just going to ask a little bit too much of his cold tyres coming out of that first corner and lose his control. Well, that put us up to 7th position, but we were soon relegated back to 8th when Max Urbin made that tight move up the inside into that right-hander. Then we had to deal with the pink BWT Audi as we see someone else at the back of the pack losing control up that hill. And yeah, as I said at the time, my confidence has taken a bit of a dent by a few punts recently, so I didn't want to defend too aggressively. I gave Moses the space there. Back to the live action. We're just starting the 3rd lap, and we're not quite close enough to launch an attack on Moses this time around. However, Moses is close enough to launch an attack on Zerbin, and he makes that move up the inside into T1. I think Zerbin eased off and gave him the space because he was really slow there. We had to ease off, and we just get tagged from behind by Pearson, and that pushes us into the back of Zerbin. And now we've got Pearson on the outside, so we're going to have to defend here. I don't want to squeeze Pearson out, but it's really difficult to wrestle the car up over that hill and turn. Well, we got through okay, however, Pearson might have problems of his own up on the inside. Bella Calero making a move through the hairpin, and Bella Calero has now taken that 10th spot from Pearson. Yeah, I suspect that Zerbin was a little bit unhappy with me for that tap from behind, but it really wasn't my fault. I got tagged by Pearson right there, and it just took me off my braking point, and that's what caused me to run into the back of Zerbin. Thankfully, no harm done. Zerbin didn't spin off, and then I had to defend against Pearson, trying not to squeeze him out and hold on to the position. We've got a really good line through this final turn as we approach the start of lap 4. That's going to give us a little bit of extra pace over Zerbin here. We might just have enough with a bit of draft too to get alongside him. Can we tuck it up the inside into T1? It's not a place I like to overtake, but we're alongside. Will he leave us the space? No, he won't. Oh, there's contact and we hit the inside curb. That's caused some suspension damage. And Rob Pearson behind us pounced. He's on the outside. Balaclera's on the inside. We're getting assaulted from all angles here. Are we going to be able to hold on to this 9th position? We have, just about. And you know what? I wonder if I was just being a bit too over-aggressive myself, attempting that move up the inside into T1 there. I was banking on Zerbin giving me the space like he did with Moses on the previous lap when Moses tried exactly the same move, but I don't know, maybe Moses was a little bit further alongside. Perhaps it was a bit of a desperate lunge on our part. We'll have to go back and check out the replay, but in the meantime, Zerbin's lost the rear a little bit on exit there. That might give us a chance, and there's carnage in the rear view mirror. I saw the yellow flags come out and we've lost Balaclera, and it looks like Pearson might have got tangled up in it too because he's now 1.5 seconds back. Meanwhile, we're all over the rear end of this Porsche in front, and Zerbin runs wide on the exit of that turn. That might give us another opportunity. We can get alongside and we've got the inside line. Can we make this pass stick? Oh, we can, but then we get tapped from behind and it spun the rear of our BMW right the way around. We're out onto the grass. Oh, that's really frustrating. We're going to lose a bunch of positions here. I thought I'd done enough to make the pass cleanly, but Zerbin hit me from behind and that was us gone. I guess I can't grumble too much. I hit Zerbin twice in the last 2 laps. Let's take a look. Yeah, this was the move that I wondered may have been a bit too aggressive. I come from quite a long way back, but I do have the speed and try and tuck it up the inside of Zerbin. But the question is, do I get far enough alongside? It looks like we're just about there, but that was big contact. But yeah, were we far enough alongside to make that inside line our own? It's borderline, we're not quite there. Zerbin goes straight for the apex, there's no room for me. We hit Zerbin, we hit the inside curb and pick up damage. Yeah, let me know what you thought of that in the comments, but in the meantime, we lost Balaclera a few corners later. I wondered if he got a helping hand from Pearson, and yes he did, having his rear spun around on the climb up that hill. And now we'll look at the pass that ultimately ended up with me on the grass. I thought I'd done enough to make the move cleanly, and yes I had, but then I just get clipped from behind. Zerbin's a bit more eager to get on the gas, and I was in his way. I do wonder if it was a little bit of a receipt for the 2 nudges that I gave him on the previous laps. There we can see it. The tap from behind is just enough to unsettle my car and spin me out. So while that spin was frustrating, it wasn't quite the disaster that I feared it would be. We only ended up losing 3 positions as we were able to rejoin fairly quickly. So we're down in 12th, but there's still a good 6 minutes of this race left. So there's every reason to still push for a top 10 here. And as you can see, we're closing in fast on the driver in 11th, Michael Holzinger. And with that, we see the white flag come out as well. So that indicates that someone else further ahead has spun off. And it looks like it's Rob Pearson, because Rob, who we were battling with before our spin, is now only 1.5 seconds ahead. Oh, and Holzinger brakes really early there. That caught me a little bit by surprise. I wasn't planning to make a move up the inside into that hairpin, but in the end I had no choice. I think Holzinger was just happy to let me by. You can probably see that I had a lot more pace. So we're up to 11th. We're chasing Pearson. Oh, we hit another inside curb. That's not going to do our suspension any good. Oh no, it really hasn't done it any good, because the car has just completely let go the second I touched the throttle. There was no grip at all, and the car's gone onto the grass for the second time. And we're going to rejoin right in the middle of a ferocious battle for 13th, so we need to try and get out of the way here. We don't want to interrupt this battle. I'm not back up to racing speed yet, so it seemed like the only decent thing to do was to stay out wide there and let that BMW through, so we can carry on the battle with the 2 cars in front of him. So we're down to 15th. just going to raise the traction control up a notch to 80%, hopefully to try and counteract some of the suspension damage. There really was no grip when I lost the car up that hill, so hopefully with a bit of extra TC, we might find it a bit more stable. But yeah, these three guys ahead are locked in an almighty battle. It was for 13th place, but of course now it's for 12th because we let them by whilst we rejoined. Once again, we get a really good line out of the final turn. We're carrying a lot more speed. The BMW's moved over to the right. Oh, now he comes back and we have to take avoided action. I panicked there. I thought we were going to get squeezed out onto the grass. But keep your eye on Hailstorm in the Porsche behind because he's going to have a sniff up the inside into T1. We managed to defend there. There's no way through. I really don't want to try too aggressive and move on Lacosta Jack in front because he's concentrating on trying to get around the driver ahead of him. But let's just try and stick with these guys here. They're battling so closely there might be a disaster that we can pounce on. But if we don't stay alert, we might lose our 15th position to Hailstorm behind because he's looking really menacing. And as we say that, Artemyev completely misses his braking point. It left a gaping hole at the apex and we were able to nip up the inside once again. Not a pass that I was planning to make, but the opportunity presented itself. Now we're up to 14th. And we're going to have to tread really carefully going around this turn. We know what happened last time around, so we're going to be a bit more cautious on the gas. We get over the crest of the hill safely. So yeah, what an eventful couple of laps. Another costly spin, only this time I've got nobody to blame but myself. But before that spin, here's the pass on Holzinger. He just gave me the space I needed to tuck it up the inside of the hairpin. But that generosity was all for nothing in the end because the very next corner here, I just clipped the inside curb. I think it gave me a little bit more suspension damage because the car felt completely different on the exit of this corner up the hill. There was no grip and we spin out onto the grass. Well, that put us back to 15th behind this intense battle ahead of us, but we also had to keep our wits about us behind. Look at that red and white Porsche of Hailstorm. He's all over me here and he tries to move up the inside. I leave a huge gap, but we just about carry enough speed around the outside line to stay alongside. Then, of course, we've got the inside line for this uphill left-hander. We do just about enough to hold on to the position. And then by the end of the straight, we actually gain a position. Another big gap on the inside of the hairpin, and we take full advantage. So I think we're going to get 2 more laps at the end of this lap, so we're pushing as hard as we can to close the gap on Lekosiak and McEwen ahead. We've certainly got the pace, it's just whether we're streetwise enough to get past them safely over these final 2 laps. In the early stages of the race, we were certainly looking good to battle for a top 6 position. A quick glance at the leaderboard now shows Moses and Kramer, who we were both racing with, are 4th and 5th. But 2 big costly spins have put paid to those hopes. We've got to reassess now. We've got to come up with some new goals over these final 2 laps, and that goal surely is a top 12 finish because it's within sight here as we charge down the start and finish straight. Lekosiak had a sniff up the inside into T1 there. He thought better of it, but that has brought us to within striking distance now. We're right on their tail. Thankfully, Hailstorm's more than a second back now, so we don't have to worry about him. Or as I say that, we do have to worry about him because we've just been taken right out at turn 3. And there's no way of rejoining safely until this pack of cars has gone through, so we're going to rejoin in 19th. Just as we were saying we were good for a top 12, it's all gone wrong again. And look just how far back that Porsche is. He comes from way back to try and make a move up the inside. Can't get the car stopped. Clips the rear of my BMW and we both spin around. Again, I wonder if I'm partly to blame for this one as we watch it on board from Hailstorm. I do take a really late apex into that corner. I prefer a late entry and a fast exit, but it does leave the gap open and I am inviting a move like this one to leave such a big gap. But maybe for future races I do need to consider taking a more defensive line through there. Well, what on earth can we salvage from this race now? We've rejoined in 19th place. Hailstorm in 18th is about 1.2 seconds ahead. We know we're faster than these guys, but we're running out of time now. We've only got 1 more lap after this one. But our RaceRoom ranking took such a big hit after the disaster at Road America last time out, and I fear we're going to take another big hit here no matter what happens over this final lap. And we're right in close to these guys now. We're right on Hailstorm's tail again. Can we do anything about it? Are we able to get any of these 3 positions back? We're currently only a second shy of 16th place, and we've got 1 lap left to do something about it. But first on the hit list is Hailstorm. I'm really fired up to get past him after what happened on the last lap, and we're going to push it really hard around the outside, a little bit too wide. We run off, and we get lucky that we don't pick up a slowdown. However, we did gain a lot of extra speed unfairly by abusing those track limits. Now, normally I'd give that position straight back as it was an unfair pass, but given that Hailstorm took me out on the last lap, I'm going to feel less guilty about not yielding. Instead, we're going to push, and we've got no choice but to stay on the outside here. Gomez is on the inside. We've not got the pace to get around him on the outside, but we're putting them under real pressure now. We had to react really quickly to avoid the contact with Gomez in that right-hander, and we've lost a little bit of time on exit, but now I'm worried about Hailstorm. Is he close enough to make a move up the inside to the hairpin? No, thankfully he's not, and we managed to close the gap on Gomez. We've got about half a lap to go now, and I think we're going to have our work cut out to get past these two guys. They're battling so hard. I think our best chance is to hope for a mistake, and we might just have got it there. Gomez clouted that curb on the inside. Is it going to cause him the same damage that it caused me? Looks a bit squirrely on exit, but he's managed to hold it. However, we are within striking distance. The checkered flag is out, so it's a sprint to the line. And it looks like Undessa's missed his braking point. He's never going to make that corner. Gomez has lost it as well, and we have to take avoided action. There's contact with Gomez, but we had no choice there. We've gained 3 positions in one corner, but Gomez is on the inside. He's going to fight back. We'll give him as much space as we can. There's more contact. Gomez forces me out wide. The gloves are off here at Portimao. The instant points are racking up, but you know what? I think we might have done enough to get an unlikely 15th place here. I don't even know who it was who spun on that downhill corkscrew section, but I only saw them at the very last second. I was concentrating on Gomez and Undessa both running wide and trying to make the pass, and then all of a sudden there was an Audi parked right in my path. Amazing that we missed him, and there we go, we've crossed the line, 15th. Yeah, we ended up gaining 4 positions over the course of a dramatic final lap here at Portimao, starting with this pass on Hailstorm. Now, I said at the time that I'd usually give that position back. We did gain unfair speed by abusing those track limits. But because Hailstorm had taken me out on the previous lap, I wasn't feeling in quite such a gentlemanly mood, so I held on to the position and then began the charge of pressing these 2 guys ahead, trying to put them under as much pressure as possible. We tried to work our way around the outside of Gomez there. We just about managed to avoid any contact, and we weren't able to make the pass, but we stuck with these guys, stayed right on their tail. And little did we know that there was a surprise waiting for us halfway down the hill. This is Schalke and his Audi spinning out of 15th. There you can see the 2 cars ahead of me both losing it, and somehow we managed to avoid hitting that Audi. I don't know if the 2 guys in front of me were distracted by that spin or whether they both ran wide anyway, but that's how close we got to contact, and now we're 3 wide going down the hill. Hailstorm's joining in with the fun. And at this point, I thought Gomez was going to get that position back, being on the inside. We did make a bit of contact as Gomez missed the apex, but it wasn't enough for either of us to spin, and that's what gave us 15th place. So yeah, dramatic ending to the race indeed, but sadly even those 4 positions gained on that final lap wasn't enough to prevent another big hit to our RaceRoom rating. Here are the classified results, and there we are all the way down in 15th place, and I can only look longingly up at the top of the order to Kramer in 4th, Moses in 5th and Herpick in 6th. These were the 3 guys I was battling with in the early stages. We had pace for a top 6 finish here, but it all went wrong. So we've started 2022 the same way that we ended 2021, with a complete disaster on the RaceRoom ranked servers. Hopefully it's only uphill from here. If you've enjoyed watching the video, please do leave a like and let me know what you thought of the incidents in the comments. And if you want to keep track of my racing progress in 2022, remember to subscribe. Thanks for watching, guys. Cheers.